I'm Mike DeRose with the elementary teachers of Trillium Lakelands, and we're proud and excited to be sponsoring Winterfest yet again. We know that 5 Counties does such great work with kids and families across our school board, and we're happy to sponsor Winterfest in 2022. Today we're going to be making a craft, and the craft we're going to be working on is Puffy paints. Puffy paints are just like regular paints, except we're going to heat them up in a microwave, and they are going to puff up and stay all puffed up after they're finished curing in the microwave. So you may need a parent's help for this, because again, we're going to be using a microwave oven. But I'll go over the materials with you, all the things you'll need to do this at home, and almost everything is found in your house right now. So in terms of ingredients, we're going to start with some flour. Now you can use all-purpose flour. I'm using white bread flour, and it seems to have worked just fine. We're also going to be needing some baking powder. It's important we remember baking powder is different than baking soda. We're also going to be using some table salt and some food coloring to add some color to our paints. The materials you'll need is a bowl to mix your ingredients together in. You can see it's not a huge bowl. We're only going to be having about 1 cup of flour, so a bowl about this size or bigger will be fine. We'll need a 1 cup measure, and we'll need a teaspoon measure. We'll also need some sandwich bags or some plastic bags. They don't have to reseal at the top, but that's a really good idea. We like to use bags, recycle bags, so if you have some of these you've already used, this is a good way to reuse those bags rather than using new bags. I also have a cup full of water here. We're going to be adding water to our mixture. I have a pair of scissors. Sharp scissors will work best, so you might need an adult for that. I have a spoon for stirring. I have a butter knife for leveling off my flour measure, and I have a spatula to help me get my mixture from here into here. So to start off, we're going to take 1 cup of flour. Oh, I forgot something really important. You'll need paper to actually do your painting on. So I'm going to reach into my giant thing of flour here, and I'm going to get 1 leveled cup. I like to use a butter knife to level off. Makes it nice and easy. Then I'll put that cup of flour into my bowl. Next, I'm going to take my baking powder, and I'm going to measure out 3 teaspoons. Remember, when we're measuring for anything like this, teaspoons should be flat, not heaped on top. There's 1, 2, and 3. Next, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. So now that I have all my dry ingredients together, might be a good idea to give those just a little stir and mix up the flour, the baking powder, and the salt together. And now I'm going to start adding water. Before I start adding water, it's going to really change. There's not a real measurement here. What we're looking for is to get our paint to be the consistency of pancake batter. So that's to say, not runny like water, but not super thick like a bread dough or something like that. So I'm gonna pour some water in here. Not too much. You can always add more water. You can't take water out. I can see already as I mix it up, I'm gonna need more water. It's a bit clumpy. So I'll add a little bit more, and I'll start mixing again. Now, we're mixing this 1 batch up. We're not gonna add any of the food coloring to our bowl. We're gonna add the color after it's in our bags, and that'll help us make sure that we have enough paint. And also doesn't mean we have only 1 color, right? We can use multiple colors. I'm almost done this cup of water. There we go. So we're gonna take our time and really mix this up, because we don't want any lumps. Flour lumps that aren't mixed in with the water are going to be a problem for us later on. And I think you'll guess why, but we're going to be using our plastic bags like a piping bag. Piping bag is what they use to put icing on cakes and things like that, special desserts and cookies. So we're going to be doing the same thing. We don't want a big chunk of flour. It kind of ruins the whole painting vibe, and it changes the thickness of our lines. And we know in art, one of the elements of design is line. We want to keep them consistent usually, or at least we want to be able to control them. When we can't control them, if we have a big chunk of flour fall out of our piping bag. So now that I've all mixed up, the next step is going to be moving our paint into our bags. So I've mixed my batter up, so it's the consistency of pancake batter. And that means it's kind of gooey, but it's liquidy enough that it's going to fall off a spoon. For the next part, I'm going to switch over to a spatula just because I think it's a little bit easier. What I'm really going to do is I'm going to take this paint base and I'm going to divide it into my 3 bags. If you have 4 bags, you could divide it into 4 bags, 2 bags, or if you really are looking for something monochromatic, all one color, you could use this whole amount. So this is the messy part, so that can be fun. I'm gonna just scooch some of this in here, and you can see I'm getting some on the edges of my bag. That's all right. Put a little bit, just like that. I think that's probably enough. I'm just gonna move my paint base to the side. And you can see I have a little bit of paint in here. It's not tons, but remember, I'm only going on a small piece of paper. My favorite color is blue, so I'm gonna get my blue food coloring, and I'm gonna put, maybe 4 or 5 drops in my bag. I'm going to seal my bag if it's got the zipper seal almost all the way. I'm gonna push out the air, so I've got not a lot of air in here, and then I'll finish sealing. And then I get to do the fun part, the mixing of the paint with the color. And I'm just gonna keep mashing this around, using my fingers maybe to squeeze it to the bottom of the bag. I can put the bag down. And I just wanna move the dye around so it's filling up all of my flour with that nice blue color. If that color is too light for you, you can add more food coloring. If it's too dark for you, you can add a little bit more paint base. But I'm actually really liking this color. I'm gonna do that for all 3 of my bags. So I'm going to use maybe different colors. I might mix 2 food colorings to show that I have an appreciation of primary and secondary and tertiary colors. But whatever it is, I'm going to be mixing up 2 or 3 different bags. So as you can see, I've mixed up 3 colors. Our primary colors, red, which did turn a little bit pinky. If I wanted that more red, I could have added more dye. Blue and yellow. It might be hard to see the yellow right there, but if I put it onto my white paper, you can see it's quite yellow. It took a lot of mixing, but now I've got 3 bags zipped closed with my paint in it. So these bags are going to become a piping bag. Again, I mentioned earlier, this is how people who are dessert specialists will ice cakes. So I'm pushing my paint to one corner, and I'm just gonna sort of twist a few times here, so I have a bit of a point here. Now, before I start, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut the smallest, tiniest hole in the corner of this bag, and I'm gonna do a couple lines or something with it. I've kept a bowl here because when I'm finished with this color, I'm gonna wanna put it somewhere not where it's going to stain something. We just put a whole bunch of dye in here, and we don't want that getting on our clothing or on furniture. So, you might need an adult to help with this. I'm right-handed, I write with my right hand, so it's gonna be difficult for me to necessarily cut this. Maybe I'll do it right over the bowl. The smallest of holes. Let's hope that cut. All right, let's see. Great. I'm not pushing too much. I'm just letting the paint do its thing. I'm gonna put that back there carefully. Try my next one. Same idea. I'm gonna push my paint into one of the corners. And I'm going to make the smallest cut. And you're gonna see I'm gonna do that over my bowl again. I'm just doing different shapes, line. I think I'll bring this back up, make it like a 3D one there. Great. Made a little mistake at the end, but that's all right. And finally, let's get some red up in here. Same thing, I'm gonna push my paint into one corner. Twist my bag around. I'm gonna cut just the very corner of the bag. I don't know if I cut that at all. I'll try that again. Perfect. Oh, this hole's even smaller. So I'm getting some cool effects. Very cool. So our next step is going to be to take our paper and we're going to put it in the microwave. So now I'm taking my paper and I'm carefully putting it into my microwave. I'm going to close my microwave and I'm going to microwave this for 30 seconds. Not really no more than 45, but 30 seconds seems to be the trick. Put this on here. So here's our first little creation out of the microwave, 30 seconds exactly. I can see that my paint has puffed up. I'm actually going to turn this sideways. You can see the relief or the dimension on it. We can see this paint is not flat. This paint has some dimension to it. And it was warm out of the microwave, but it cooled really quickly. My paper's dry. I can hang that up now. Whichever way I want it to go, I guess. So there you have it. I've got a couple examples of little crafts I've made, little paintings. And we can see this is quite firm to the touch. It's got great dimension. These are dry basically right out of the microwave. 30 seconds, did all of them, including this excellent boat that I did. And that had a lot of paint on there and that's solidified quite well. And got a fun little face. Okay, there we go. Nice little message of caring to everybody as well. And of course, our first test, which seems to work out great. So all that from 1 cup of flour, and I still have some paint left. I could probably make another 1 or 2 pictures. Anyways, I wanted to thank you all for taking the time to do some craft with us. And again, us at elementary teachers in Trillium Lakelands, we really appreciate all the work that 5 Counties does. We are very proud to continue to support Winterfest and all the efforts that that organization makes to make lives better for our communities. So until next year, happy painting, and I hope you enjoy yourselves. Thank you.